Hank is the newest brawler in Brawl Stars, which means no one has achieved his title yet. So in this video, I'm going to be attempting to be the first person in the world to obtain the Little Tenant title. Now, I knew this was going to be a tough challenge since there's other pro players and even YouTubers like my lookalike, Ben Tim 1, that are all trying to achieve the same goal as I am. This means I'd have to get the cap of 6,000 mastery points every day. And on the 5th day, all of us would be racing for the last 800 points. And whoever finishes first will be the first one to obtain the Little Tenant title. Now, day 1 is always the longest grind because of how little amount of mastery points you gain at low trophies. Typically, what people do is they find teammates to quickly push trophies with so they can reach the mastery cap faster. Now, unfortunately for me, I couldn't find teammates. Most of my friends were either helping people push Hank or pushing Hank themselves, so that meant we had to play with randoms. And playing with randoms really isn't that much fun, and it takes so much extra time. Our first game, I was popping off, killing the enemies over and over, but because I didn't really get much help from my randoms, the game was still super close and it even went to overtime. Now, luckily my teammate passed me the ball and I was able to super shot it in the corner of the net and grab our first win. Now, once the game ended, I actually saw my stat line and then I realized how broken Hank really is. I did over 100,000 damage in a single game of Brawl Ball, which is absolutely crazy. Now, the push was going pretty good, even though a little bit slow. It was going great until we faced Triple Hank. I was sweating this match like it was Worlds 2021 versus SK, but because Hank is so good, there was nothing I could do. 3 Hanks was just impossible for me to deal with, and well, long story short, we lost. This even further proved my thoughts that Hank was just busted. But I didn't think it was a bad thing because we were going to push Hank mastery no matter what, but eventually we had to continue powering through to get our 6,000 mastery points for the day. So I eventually found some teammates to play with, Kenny, amazing Brawl Stars caster, and Zulon, my go-to teammate that helps me throughout this video. So thanks to them, we powered through the grind and finished our mastery cap for the day, and we also finished at 949 trophies. Now, at this point, we knew Hank was broken, but the crazy thing is Hank would even become more broken. Now, in day 2, players found out about a bug with Hank where the scaling with damage amplifiers was crazy, meaning if you paired Hank with an 8-bit, you can basically one-shot anybody while you're in the 8-bit turret. Now, of course, we had to try it for ourselves. Now, I apologize to anyone that I one-shot while playing 8-bit Hank. We only did it for a little bit because we felt like it was cheating, but the problem was other people were going to continue to abuse the strategy, which meant we either needed to run 8-bit Hank ourselves or learn how to beat it. Now, beating 8-bit Hank is not an easy task. We soon learned kind of how to deal with it. There was 2 parts to our strategy. The first part was either we don't feed the 8-bit turret at all, which is easier said than done. And the second part was whenever the 8-bit turret gets placed on the ground, everybody would focus it as much as possible. Now, again, that's still a lot easier said than done, but we did a pretty good job and we were winning a good amount of our games, losing some on the way. And with that strategy, day 2 went pretty smoothly, so we finished off our 6,000 mastery cap for the day and we went to day 3 where things got a little bit crazier. Now, on day 3, people came up with an even better strategy where they started using 8-bit Hank and Ruffs. With the Ruffs power-up, Hank also became that much better. He basically could one-shot anybody even without the turret, but with the turret, he was unstoppable. There was no stopping Hank whatsoever. We had to try it. Now, we used this broken strategy for a while, so again, I'm sorry to everyone we faced, but eventually we gave it up and I took a long break and hopped back on really late at night. But at this point, we were getting close to the time where the mastery cap resets, and if we didn't finish getting our 6,000 mastery points before the reset, we'd have to say goodbye to being the first person ever to obtain the Little Tenant title. So luckily, I found some teammates to play with until I got to about 17,500 mastery, meaning I was only 500 mastery away from the cap, so I wasn't too worried. I still had a little bit of time left, but the problem was I'd have to play with randoms again. Now, playing with randoms over 1,000 trophies is hard enough, but when you're also doing it versus 8-bit Hanks and Ruffs, it makes it so much harder. Now, I'm not even exaggerating when I say I've never lost so many games of Brawl Stars in my life trying to get 500 mastery points, but this was ridiculous. Honestly, at this point, I even started to panic a little bit. I was really running out of time, and it seemed the easiest way for me to get mastery points was to get star player on the losing team, and well, that's not very common to do. But eventually, I calmed myself down, getting a couple wins, putting us now only 1 game away from the mastery cap, and we had a little bit of time to spare, so I wasn't so stressed anymore. I loaded up in the game, and I noticed they didn't even have a Hank, and at this point in my mind, I knew this was the game that we were going to win because Hank is just so much better than all the other brawlers. I started to try my heart out because they didn't even really have a Hank counter, so I honestly had a field day this match. There was no way I was going to die, so we won the game just before the reset, and we finished day 3 at 18,000 mastery. Now, day 4 was a roller coaster of emotions. It started out great. We played with both Nat and Ray, just had a little bit of fun grabbing a few wins and losses here and there. But the good thing about a mastery push is you don't have to worry about the losses that much, just you need to grab some wins along the way. And by the time we finished our little push, we gained about 1,000 mastery points, putting us just past 19,000. And at this point, you could really start seeing the finish line of this mastery push because we really weren't that far away. Now, after playing with Nat and Ray for a little while, we were also joined by Zuan and Chompy. And since Chompy doesn't really understand English that well, they were speaking Spanish a lot, and I thought they were making fun of me at one point because Zuan said my name, and I don't really know what he said. Let me know in the comments down below what this even means.
Chompy, pero qué malo es el Cori con el Hank. Pareciera que le hubieran cortado los brazos, bro.
But either way, we gained another 1,000 mastery points with those guys, and everything was looking good for us. So we were on track to hit our 6,000 mastery cap, and we were ready to wake up super early to be the first person in the world to get the title. But then something terrible happened. I checked Twitter randomly throughout the day, and I saw a tweet from fellow pro player Killer, and it was a tweet of him getting the Hank title. Now, at this point, I thought it was a joke because I hit the mastery cap every single day. I still had 800 mastery to get the next day, so I thought this was basically impossible. But then I messaged him asking him how he did it or if it was a joke, and come to find out, Hank was actually released 1 hour before the mastery cap resets, meaning if you played Hank at 4 a.m. in the middle of the night and got 800 mastery points, you could actually cut off 1 day of your entire push, and that's exactly what Killer did. Now, at this point, my hopes and dreams were crushed. I really spent hours and hours grinding for this mastery to be the first person in the world to get it, but I lost because of timing. But at this point, I was so close to finishing it, I didn't really also want to let you guys down, so I knew I had to finish the push, and that would lead us to the final day. For day 5, we didn't really have much mastery left to go, so we hopped on in a room with a couple of friends and started grinding away, and in no time, a bunch of wins, we were finally 1 game away. Now, if this video gets 2,000 likes, I'll try this again when a new brawler is released. But either way, here's the final game.
All right. Oh, 8-bit Hank, of course. All right, here we go. Final game versus an 8-bit Hank, of course. Best comp of the game right now. We get a good start, to be honest. Crow's actually pretty good into their comp. I'm going to wait for a dash. Perfectly timed. Patience is the key with Hank, and I don't really even need to worry right now. I got Dynamite coming to back me up. That's a kill. Like to survive here. Dynamite does get the goal. Nicely done by I'm Will. All right, one more goal, and we get the little tenant title, but they got an 8-bit turret. So this is where you got to play extremely patient. They're get another 8-bit turret, because if they do, this is going to be a big problem. I'm going to pop a gadget, get a little bit of damage, trying my best to survive. Looks like they're going to kill 8-bit, which is really nice. I'm going to hit the Hank Maxes. Oh my god, almost scored, almost dashed out of the blue with the sick kill. Again, it's HP is the name of the game when you're playing against Hank. If you have extra HP, this is going to be it, guys. I'm just going to, thank you for the slow, and we're going to score the goal, and this means we're going to get the title. There we have it, finally.
And with that, we collected the rewards and the precious title.
And we got our second title, Little Tenant. Like and subscribe.